When it comes to paying for college, all of you should know, as long as you've seen anything from me before, is that I believe scholarships are the most important part to getting a debt-free degree. Now that said, it's very rare for a student to get one scholarship that covers everything. Is it possible? Sure, but it's kind of like a 1 in a million chance. Now that said, you might be wondering, well, can a student then get multiple scholarships? So in today's video, I want to talk about that. I want to talk about how students can get multiple scholarships to help work their way to a debt-free degree. In fact, this is how I did it. I secured over 6 figures in scholarships, but it was multiple scholarships that got me there. So there's little tricks and details that we need to know in order to make sure that we can maximize this money and not lose any of it. So stick with me till the end. Now make sure you hit subscribe, because every week I have a new strategy for you to help you and your family work towards a debt-free degree. Hey there, my name is Jocelyn Pearson, founder of the Scholarship System, where we redefine paying for college to help families build strong financial futures rather than ones where their students are paying on decades of student loan debt. Now, our families have secured over $13 million today. And again, like I mentioned earlier, I got over 6 figures. So scholarships are our jam. Now, just a quick note, this is for US citizens and permanent residents, not for international students. Okay, so first and foremost, can students get multiple scholarships? And the answer is not only yes, but absolutely. And this is what we want to aim for. Now, scholarships come in various different forms and types and from different sources. So I want to go over those so that we can get an idea of what kinds of scholarships we could possibly pull together. Here are some of the most common types. First, merit-based scholarships. So these are the ones that a lot of people think about from a university for sports, for academics, for artistic talents, leadership. These are the ones that students usually compete for when they apply for admissions to an institution. Second is need-based scholarships. So these are the ones that a lot of people think otherwise, where a student has financial need and receives money for that. These can be from government sources, from the university. They can actually be from multiple places. Third, we have special interest scholarships. So this is where we can really get creative. Anything that are from talents to hobbies to career aspirations to just passions that your student is really involved in. This is where the sky can be the limit for students. Then we have demographic scholarships, which a lot of people will think for particular backgrounds or for communities. And lastly, and this kind of rolls in some of the previous ones, but local scholarships. So from organizations, businesses, community groups in your local area. Now, aside from all this, of course, there is government grants. Those do not have to be paid back, just like scholarships, which we access through submitting FAFSA. I've got a whole separate playlist for FAFSA for you on that. You can check it out. We'll link to it in the description below. Now, each type of scholarship and each actual scholarship within that can have its own criteria, and it's entirely possible that your student can qualify for multiple of these, if not every single one of these. Now, I have a free webinar where I cover more detail about the different types of scholarships and how to find them. So if you want to check that out, you can go to thescholarshipsystem.com/free webinar, or check out this video here. We'll also link to it in the description if you want to check it out after you finish this video. Now, let's talk about multiple scholarships, and then we'll get into how we can get them. But when it comes to multiple scholarships, we may have to just be strategic to make sure that we can really maximize this money. So first and foremost, we talk about stacking scholarships. And many institutions do allow this, despite what people think. And this means that students can combine multiple awards in order to cover their costs. Now, there might be limits, or some universities may say, well, if you bring in outside money, then we're going to decrease what you've received from us. However, this is something that's called scholarship displacement, but it is important to know that there are actual laws around this. We have an entire blog post about it. I will link to it in the description below. But the most important thing is to note that they actually have to remove debt-based money before they can touch need-based or debt-free money. So grants, merit aid, money that does not have to be paid back. So for example, if we get our financial aid award letter from the university and it includes $5,000 of unsubsidized loans, then they would have to take from that Then they would have to take from work study, and then they could touch debt-free money. So we need to be in a pretty good situation before we actually get to where they're impacting our non-debt money. Now, if your school is handling this differently, then shoot us an email or comment below, read that article. We have the actual law in there quoted, but that is not okay. And they can even reclassify some things in order to help you guys out so that you can keep the money. For me, if a school participates in scholarship displacement and we're losing money that our student has earned, I personally would consider a different school. Right there would be a major, major con. Because it's not just about losing this one scholarship. It's about now removing the opportunity for us to earn more money every year while our student is in college. Their tuition is going to go up, their costs are going to go up each year. And so we want to be able to continue applying. And if a school is already stifling that, that is not good news. Now, the other thing with multiple scholarships is noting that we could have a organization send the money directly to us. So we don't necessarily have to have it sent to the school. You might want to look into the rules as far as their financial aid department. However, if they send the money directly to your student, then they will get a 1099 tax form for it. So legally, you will be covered as far as tax purposes, but anything that's sent to the university will count in any kind of caps that they have, and it'll be put on a 1098T tax form that the university gives your student. So don't worry as far as legal and tax abiding laws. If money is directly sent to your student, they will get a 1099 so they can submit that properly. Now, the other way to combine multiple scholarships is to combine ones that are renewable and one time. So some of the scholarships are renewable, which means that if your student wins the money, they receive that money every single year while they're in college. Most likely they will have to meet certain criteria, maybe a minimum GPA, or they'll have to have at least 12 credit hours per semester. So they'll have different rules, but as long as they hit those rules, it'll automatically renew. These are, of course, amazing, but they're not as common as one-time scholarships. One-time scholarships is where a student gets that the one time, and sometimes they can reapply in following years and get it again, but they still have to reapply, or sometimes it's a one-time thing and they just have to find other money. I had a combination of all of this. When I'm talking about the different types of money, when I'm talking about the different frequencies of money, when I'm talking about from the government, from the university, from the state, from local organizations, I literally tapped into it all. And this is how we can really stack those scholarships and work our way to that debt-free degree. So again, I got over $126,000 in scholarships, but they were all different kinds, types, and different frequencies, different amounts. So it really varied, which might seem a little overwhelming, but it's actually a beautiful thing. It means that there's a lot of opportunity out there for students. Now, again, I explain this in a lot more detail in that free webinar. So go to thescholarshipsystem.com/free webinar and register for that. It's about an hour long, and you'll get all the details to get started on this. Now, how do we secure these multiple scholarships? How do we work our way so that our student can graduate debt-free? First and foremost is starting early. The earlier that we start, the more categories we can take advantage of. So when it comes to government money, university money, that's kind of set in a schedule, right, for senior year. However, the private, the outside money, the local dollars, these can start even in junior year in high school, and we can continue applying all the way throughout college. But starting early just gives us more opportunity to identify them and to put them on our list and apply to them. Secondly, we want to make sure that we stay organized. So this is something that I covered in our course as well as our new second edition of our book, but it is so important to not only keep track of the scholarships that we want to apply to, but also setting electronic deadlines and reminders, because we do not want to do all the work to build these lists and then miss them, which I see so often. I have an entire YouTube video all about scholarship tracking, so we will link to that in the description, or you can click on that here as well. Now, comment below, what is your student using, you and your student, what are you using right now in order to track scholarships? Have you started? Have you created a system? Is it paper? Is it a spreadsheet? Are you using our free app? If you want to use that, you can go to thescholarshipsystem.com/app. We have lots of resources for you to stay organized, and that will increase the chances of them actually getting money. Last but not least is to apply to many, okay? We want no limit on this. As many different types, different categories, different deadlines, different dollar amounts, different frequencies. We want to try to really cast our net wide so that we can really accumulate that money and stack it to get to that free ride. Now, I did mention that we have a brand new second edition of our book, so I will link to that in the description as well. If you like a physical book or a Kindle, you can check that out, but also make sure that you check out that free webinar that I mentioned where I cover my 6 steps to securing scholarships. Okay, so that said, not only are multiple scholarships possible, but it is actually the way of working towards a debt-free degree. This is how I did it. This is how we've helped thousands of families get to college, send their student without having to take out a penny of debt. By starting early, by casting our net broadly, by staying organized, we can really maximize all the different types of money that's out there. All right, don't forget to hit subscribe because I have more and more strategies every single week for you. Check out that free webinar and all the free resources I mentioned in the description below, and I'll see you in the next video.